Dynamo Nation, what's going on? My name is James. Thank you for joining me today on this episode. If you are new here, welcome to the channel. Welcome to Dynamo Nation. If you're not subscribed, please take a moment to consider hitting that subscribe button. It 100% helps this channel out, helps me pump out more Dynasty content to you. With that out of the way, Week 15, playoffs are here, baby. Who else is excited? I am so pumped up to get the playoffs going. But the story of the week, COVID. COVID has reared its ugly head once more, and we are feeling it in fantasy football right now. And there's a lot of IDP players that are going to be out week 15. And with that said, I wanted to find a list. I wanted to do some digging, do some research to find 6 sleepers for us on the IDP side of things. As always, these videos we're going to include 2 defensive linemen, 2 linebackers, and 2 DBs. That's how I roll. I give you 2 of each, and yeah, so I'm going to put our stats up, our tables up. These are going to be the best teams to start our IDP against. So let's throw them up. We'll take a look at them together. And we'll start with the defensive line. Defensive line, our top 3 teams that we want to start our offense against, or our IDP against, to maximize our points are going to be Baltimore, Tennessee, Carolina. Really no surprise there. These teams have been at the top of this list for a while. We can move on to linebacker. The Detroit Lions, Tennessee Titans, and Cleveland Browns. Again, these are 3 teams that have constantly been at the top of this list. And then finally, our DB spot. The Ravens show up again, 66 points a week. That's crazy. Dallas Cowboys and the New England Patriots. And, I just want to say, this point of the season, this late into the season, when we have this type of data at our disposal, it would be so foolish not to use it. And I'm not saying that this is the end-all be-all, that if you start a player who's going against one of these teams that you're guaranteed to score a lot of points, because it's fantasy football. You can't predict that. But not to use these type of tools to our advantage, it's foolishness if you do that. We have to use the stats, use the numbers, and make the best decisions based on the information that we have. So with that being said, let's get right into our players. I'm going to start at the DB side of things. And our first player, Elijah Riley, safety from the Jets. Riley was just activated 4 weeks ago, I think week 11. He was on Philadelphia's practice squad all season. He had been protected. We can protect 3 players on practice squads, teams can. They had protected him all season. The 1 week that they didn't, guess what happened? The Jets scooped him up. So we look at Riley. I'll throw his table up here. We can take a look at it together. Riley has been a nice, solid contributor for the Jets. This is his 2nd season in the league. He's rostered in under 1% of leagues, so I guarantee he's probably sitting on waivers. He's being started in 55% of leagues, though. They do roster him, so, there is some upside there. There's managers who are recognizing his ability. The last 2 weeks, though, he's averaging almost 16 points a week, 15.5 points a week from a safety who's sitting on waivers right now. That's great. He's played 97% of snaps, so he's playing a lot. Week 15 is not a great matchup against the Dolphins, but it's average. It's good enough to play. And since being activated week 11, 15 solo tackles, 1 tackle for loss, 3 assists, and a sack. Again, Riley's a player who's rostered in under 1% of leagues. We could do a lot worse than that if we are hurting at the DB spot, especially with this COVID outbreak that's sweeping the NFL right now. 100% Riley's a pickup. Play him. I'm not saying he's going to get 16 points a week, but if we can get 10 or above, I'll take that all day. So we'll stick with the DB side of things. Our second player, Rasul Douglas, cornerback, Green Bay Packers. The Packers play the Ravens this week. We just see from that graph, that table, the Ravens are getting torched. They're giving up so many points to opposing DBs. It's crazy. 66 points a week. And when we look at Douglas, I'm about to throw his table up too. He has been putting up crazy numbers. Douglas, in the last 8 weeks, is averaging 15 points a week. That's nuts. He's rostered in 4% of leagues, only being started in 76. Well, 76 is pretty high, but only being rostered in 4%, that's low. So he's definitely probably available in most leagues. He's playing almost 90% of snaps in the last 8 weeks. That's great. Again, the number 1 matchup. And look at Douglas, last 8 games. 35 solo tackles for a cornerback. That is crazy. He's definitely getting to the ball. He's being targeted. That's what it shows me. 35 solo tackles, 1 tackle for loss, 4 assists, a forced fumble, 3 INTs, 10 pass defense, and then 2 touchdowns in the last 3 weeks. That to me shows that Douglas is being attacked on defense. Let's just call it what it is. That teams are focusing, throwing the ball his direction, and that's great for fantasy purposes. A player might not be great in real life. I get that. But if they are getting attacked on the defensive side of things and teams are throwing at them, that's what we want from an IDP fantasy football perspective. 35 solo tackles for a cornerback in 8 games, that's a lot. And I know his numbers are inflated based on those 2 defensive touchdowns, but getting 35 solos and then 10 pass defense, that's a lot in 8 weeks. It really is. So Rasul Douglas, rostered in 4% of leagues, he's a pickup, especially going against the number 1 team to start your DBs against. Pick him up, start him, let's roll. We'll move to the linebacker spot. Our first player has had an up and down season. He came out of nowhere, blew up for a few weeks, and then disappeared. And over the last 4 weeks, he's blown up again. We're sticking with the Jets, Quincy Williams. Quincy, we're going to throw his table up here. We can take a look at it together. Quincy Williams. What more can I say? He's been an enigma this season. You know, he's only rostered in 10% of leagues, so there's a good chance that he's available. He's been the LB5, though, since week 11. He's averaging almost 20 points a week since week 11. 19.5 points per game. That's crazy. And he's got the number 4 matchup this week going against Miami. So he's got a great matchup. Recent production. In these last 4 games, 26 solo tackles, 4 tackles for loss, 17 assists, a sack, and 1 pass defensed. Those are great numbers. That's a legitimate high-end LB1. And that's what he's been the last 4 weeks. So based on recent production, based on the matchup, you may have him on your roster. You may be struggling with injuries, and you may be thinking, should I start him or should I not? 100% plug him in and start him. He's a must-play this week. So second LB we're going to look at. And the Houston Texans, I don't know what to say about their linebacking situation right now. They've been destroyed by COVID. So I'm going to pull a blast from the past for us all. Neville Hewitt, baby. Neville Hewitt. He started the game this season. He played pretty well. All right, but Neville Hewitt was the number 8 linebacker in scoring last season. He's in Houston. He's 100% going to start this week. You know, Kirksey's out. Camus out. Like they've got a lot of injuries. So let's throw Hewitt up on the table, or his table up on the screen. We all can take a look. Hewitt's only rostered in 2% of leagues, being started in 14%. See, he's available. I know he's available. Again, he was the LB8 in 2020. Week 9 was that week that he started. He scored 16 points. We'll take that every single day, especially right now. Week 15, first round playoffs. If you can grab a linebacker off waivers and get 16 points, just take that to the bank. And then, you know, his last stat here is pretty impressive, I think. And I'm confident with this last one. 97.3% of Dynamo Nation can suit up for the Texans this week at linebacker. I'm confident in that. Their linebacker squad is hit in terms of injuries based on COVID. So they've got next to nobody out there. Hewitt, 2% rostered. He's definitely available in your league. Grab him. Definitely somebody, if you're starting 3 or 4 linebackers and you need an LB3, LB4 this week, I'm putting Hewitt in there. So let's move to the defensive line. This is a player I have rostered in pretty much every league that I'm in. Every league I can get him in. He's been an underrated defensive lineman for several weeks now, since J.J. Watt went down. I've mentioned him on this channel before. Zach Allen. Zach Allen has turned into a DL stud. And it's hard to be consistent on a defensive line. It really is. But he's still not getting the love and the respect that he needs. So I'm going to keep pumping him up here, especially for my IDP players. So let's throw Allen up on the screen. Take a look at the table. Let's look at it together. Zach Allen, only rostered in 6% of leagues. But this man has scored 8 or more points in 6 out of the last 7 games. And if you're an IDP, you understand how difficult that is to find defensive linemen to score that consistently. 8 points in 6 out of the last 7, we will take that all day. In that time frame, 10.3 points per game, again, a great number. And they face Detroit this week, the Cardinals do. So what does that tell me? That tells me going against Detroit, they're probably going to boat race the Lions. Let's call it what it is. And in the second half of that game, Allen's going to be able to just sit back and attack the quarterback because they're going to have to throw the ball and throw it a lot. Right now, we know Swift's not playing. He's already been ruled out. Williams probably not playing. Hawkinson's got a thumb surgery. He's done for the season. So between Swift and Hawkinson, their two best offensive skill weapons, they're done. There's almost no chance that Detroit's going to get up in this game. They're going to be throwing the ball in the second half, playing catch-up, and Allen can pin back those ears and get after the quarterback. I expect a sack this week. Definitely a few tackles. I think he's a very, very safe play on the defensive line, week 15. And that's what we're looking for, especially in the playoffs. It's make or break. Time to go home. Like, if we don't get this thing squared away, that's it. So, no mistakes. And then our last defensive lineman is another player I've mentioned before, Davin Gasho, New England Patriots. This man has been on a tear the last 3 weeks. Throw his table up. We could take a look at it together. Look at these numbers in the last 3 weeks. He's averaging 14.3 points per game since week 11. He scored double digits in 3 straight. Rostered in 3% of leagues, only being started in 52%. And the thing is, on paper, the matchup with the Colts is not great. But who's the Colts' best player? Jonathan Taylor. What position does Jonathan Taylor play? A running back. They're going to run that damn ball. You know it, I know it. There's no way that the Colts are not going to run that ball. Gasho playing in the middle of that defense on that line, he's going to have ample opportunities to get to the running back and secure tackles. And if you're in an IDP league, you know a tackle's worth 2 damn points. I'll take it all day. This is a team that's going to run the ball. Gasho 3 straight weeks, averaging over 14 points a week in the last 3 straight double digits. I think he's a safe play this week. I really do. I like all of our players this week on IDP. All 6 of these guys, I feel like if you're in a bind, not even if you're in a bind, I think all 6 can be solid starters this week. You know, we've got 2 DBs that are coming into their own in terms of fantasy points. Riley's just not getting a chance to play, 15.5 points a wen. You look at Douglas, 15 points a game over the last 8, right? Hewitt's the only healthy linebacker, it feels like. Like I just said, damn near 97% of Diamond Nation can start right now at linebacker for the Texans. They're hit right now. So there's a lot to like from this list of players. Do I think that any of them are going to have a blow-up week? It would have to be Douglas going against the Baltimore Ravens and the best team that he could start against. And the fact that for some ungodly reason, he's taken 2 back to the house in the last 3 weeks. So imagine picking this guy who's only rostered in 4% of leagues, throw him into your starting lineup week 15 in the playoffs, first round, and he takes one to the house and wins your league. I mean, it's happened before. So great pickups this week on the IDP side of things. If you're still playing, congratulations. Regardless of what happens from this point going forward, you made the playoffs, especially in the Dynasty League. That's not easy to do. Congratulations. I hope each and every one of you knocks it out, gets that W this week. I'll keep you updated on my leagues. Like I said, Pat Mahomes went berserk on I have 2 main leagues. The one league I got Mahomes, the other league I got Kelsey. And they both went crazy. So I'm looking really good right now. I'm happy about it. So I'll keep you guys updated. Be on the lookout. I have a very interesting video that's coming out next week. That's all I'm going to say. Be on the lookout for it. I've worked really hard on it. Just stay tuned. That's all I can say. Stay tuned next week. I'm putting the finishing touches on it right now. Also next week, our very first feature video is going to be put up for the subscribers that were chosen to have a featured video for their Dynasty leagues. So a lot of content coming. I can't wait. And so, yeah, let's get it, Dynamo Nation. Let's get those W's. And I will see you guys next time. See you.